we will go ahead and continue our avails for today. We are now joined by Chris Buescher, driver of the number 17 Ford for RFK Racing. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. If you have one, please raise your hand and we will get to you. We'll start with Cameron, Bob, and then Jacob.
Cameron Richardson, NASCAR.com. Chris, how does this track change on a year-to-year basis? Is it one where you can keep building a notebook and you can get better and better here, or is when you enter turn one for the first time, it just changes completely?
Yeah, it's there's definitely a notebook to it. It has aged surprisingly fast since the repave. And then we've had a handful of patches put in. The patch in turn 2 is probably the bigger item that we've been trying to adjust to the last couple of years. Ton of grip the first time we came here with that really dark black patch, but still had really rough transitions in and off of it. The transitions are still there; they're still pretty rough, but the grip has gone down significantly. We're learning little things about it, but I'd say that's the bigger item that we look at. The rest of the track has just been a pretty progressive aging of the asphalt. It's not really getting a whole lot rougher as far as ride quality goes. We're still chasing that last 2 or 3 inches right there at the fence. Maybe we've been able to get a little bit more aggressive with using that in the Xfinity and in the Cup Series with composite bodies. So we're able to not have as much consequence trying to find that last little bit. So we're just still chasing grit like good old-fashioned Darlington. But the patch has just been one of those little things that has definitely changed how we've gone about things. It is definitely the limit of what we can get away with for speed, heights versus ride quality.
We'll go to Bob, then Jacob, then Trenton.
Bob Pockers, Fox Sports. Have you watched the finish from last week, or can you not bear to watch it yet?
Yeah, I've watched it. I've watched it plenty. I've replayed it in my head no less than 100 times, and that's probably pretty conservative. So, I've got a list of things I would do different going back, and just need to be in that situation again. So, taking a lot of good things out of it, a couple of bad, but ultimately what I look at is that is the most competitive mile and a half that we've had ever in my career with RFK for sure as well. That was a better weekend than we had at Michigan when we won, and I take that as the highlight of how it all went down, and kind of gets you through some of the bitterness of it as well. So what we're talking about is how do we make that our kind of our baseline for mile and a half. See what we're able to transfer here to Darlington. Obviously they're not the same racetrack whatsoever, but you still feel like we have things that we can apply. So we're all doing our best to try and laugh about it after the race, and hung out, actually stayed and watched cars go through tech to make sure we were good and the 5 was good, obviously. Just trying to let it all unfold and take a breather, and our whole team stayed and was standing around the truck just trying to ultimately have some peace in the fact that we had a great day, and try and laugh about the situation, knowing that it was going to be a tough one for really for the rest of every one of our careers.
And are you good with the way NASCAR, decides the finish with the cameras and everything?
I've certainly learned a lot, and some things that I did not know about. We've had a couple of ways to laugh about. Obviously, the wavy line across the finish line has been fun to pick at, but ultimately, I understand that's not what we go by. It's transponder loops or camera, I guess. That's some of the things that I've learned is knowing that we use a camera system ultimately versus transponder loops. I guess we've been not in such a grand fashion, but a part of some of these races that have ended under yellow all of a sudden, and we've been chasing loops and cameras and never really understood how we ended up where we did on a couple of races the last couple of years, and I think we have a better understanding now. So yeah, all good at the end of the day, and ready to make the next one easier to talk about as a win, and not have to pull up that camera footage again.
We'll go to Jacob, then Trenton, then Matt.
Jacob Steelman, Race Face Digital. Chris, you mentioned.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay.
you mentioned analyzing in your mind the finish, but as a driver, how do you kind of, once you've analyzed it, put that behind you and really focus on going out and having that same level of performance here at Darlington?
Yeah, it was bothersome for 2 days there. There's no way around that, and really just picked it apart. Ultimately, the way we see it is you need to be in those positions to know what you want to do better next time. And someone told me, not about this weekend, but a long time ago, you got to lose some to win some. And had a handful of scenarios throughout my career where felt like we had a race that we were going to win, or finally had, and something come up, or something that just mistake being made here or there, and got told that you just have to have that knowledge, and until you do, you don't know the right decision. So fortunately, we've been in these situations more. To have that that fight to the end is good to be in that position, and like I said, that's how we're going to learn. It's how we're going to put notes away and be more prepared for it when it happens. Hopefully not this weekend. Like I said, we want to make it a little easier on everybody to celebrate ahead of time. But it's just a learning experience at this point. Something we need to take in, and just make sure our performance stays elevated to the point where we're able to be in those conversations again.
Between you and Brad, I think 3 runner-up finishes for RFK in the last 4 races. You had the 3 wins last year. Do you feel like, as an organization, you guys are much closer now to where you want to be on a week-to-week basis than further away?
Yes. We went through the off-season, and obviously we had a really strong last third of the season. Was able to make a really good run in the playoffs, and have really potential at tracks that I've not been good at in the past. And to me, that was a good measure of the success that we're having, and of the potential was when you can take races that you used to try to stay optimistic about, but ultimately dread going into, and turn those into opportunities to feel like you had a shot to win, and run top 5 or whatever it may have been. That was big for the end of the season, and our off season was spent talking about how do we start off the year like that. Our first 8 races of most every season have just been they've just been off, and that was very important for us this year, was to make sure that we started in a much better spot. And like you said, that we've got 4 runner-up finishes between the 2 of us on the year now. I guess that's that is a really good useless stat for everybody in here. No one's going to talk about that one except us, but it is a measure for us to say we're inching up on it, or we're right there knocking on the door. It's just about sealing the deal at this point.
We'll go to Trenton, and we'll try for 1 or 2 more as we're running out of time.
Hey, Chris, Trenton Worsham, frontstretch.com. With the finish being, like the closest in history, but talks about the transponders and stuff. Do you feel like anything needs to change with where they're located, or in case something like this may happen again, or are you okay with how it is right now?
No, I mean, the transponder, all our chassis are built by Technique, right? So every transponder, every car is in the exact same spot. That's actually as even as it's ever been. When it was up to the teams, you'd always have those little gray areas being explored, like we're prone to do around here. But no, right now, I mean, it's all coming from single source suppliers. So there's nothing that puts you in a position to be able to play those games. It is where it's at. So no, I think stuff on race cars, it's as equal as it's ever been, and really is ever going to be. It's where it's at. So I don't feel like there's anything that we can do to change that.
It was more so like along the lines of NASCAR to, where they're located versus the finish and all that. So it's not so far towards the back. Is maybe just put it on different parts of somewhere else on the car for everybody, not necessarily the teams doing it.
It really doesn't matter with the timeline being that offset back off the start finish line. Basically, when the splitter trips that typically straight white line, the transponder should be right on the beacon, right? So same way like the end of pit road, we used to have a thought, and we're smarter now, and probably should have been back then, but used to have a thought that, okay, you have to get that transponder across that line to truly beat somebody. Long time ago we figured out, no, the transponder line is actually set back the exact, whatever it may be, call it 15 feet from that yellow line on the end of pit road, so that we are going off of the front edge of a splitter, essentially. So I think it's the same method we use for pit road stuff, for speeds, for timing loops there. I don't see where we're moving it's gonna change anything.
We'll go to Matt and then come down to Jordan.
Matt Weaver, Sportsnot. Different right side combination for Darlington. It's the intermediate tire used all year. That seems like it's been a hit for the intermediates. How do you think it's going to work out for a drastically different track in Darlington?
I would say, as much as I am not a proponent for change most weeks, I'm a little stubborn and set in my ways as I've gotten a little older here. But yes, it's different for Darlington, but like you said, it's what we've used at all these mile and a half. So it seems to have been decent. It's not something that we're running into unknowns with. We're not having issues where we feel like we've got notes on it that are leading us to be able to be confident in the decisions we're making for setups going into weekends. I don't have anything off the top of my head that says it's going to change much here for Darlington. It's had it's had tire wear, it's had fall off in it. It may be more stair stepped than just that progressive loss of time, but it seems like it's been a step in a good direction for us for our bigger track product.
We'll come down to Lee.
Lee Spencer, Series X and NASCAR Radio and catchfence.com. How will the repave affect North Wilkesboro?
In every way we can and can't imagine, I'd say. That the closest thing I'd ever been to Wilkesboro, North Wilkesboro last year was Berlin, Michigan, in an ARCA car. Which is probably still just as bad as North Wilkesboro was. I think we got wide open 2 times, not even 2 laps, 2 times throughout an entire ARCA race there, and that was a long time ago. So it's you're going from the absolute extreme of lack of grip to what's ultimately going to be, feel like infinite grip. I would say that you're going to be talking about exponentially more braking applied. You're really going to change up everything you do there. Speeds are obviously going to be way, way faster. Throttle time is going to be way more. You're going to turn it back into a horsepower war to some extent. Short track racing is not as big a deal, but you're going to be wanting it. I hope that we have enough racetrack to be able to move around and be able to make passes. I hope that the progressive banking that is in Wilkesboro that was supposed to stay in there, and it seems like it has. I haven't seen it in person, but it looks similar from what I can tell right now. So if that comes in and we're able to have good racing, it's just going to be a whole lot faster this go around. So I know new paves have not been our friend typically as far as really good racing goes through the years, and I really kind of blame it on just on technology and new asphalt being too good. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I'm not educated enough to even have that argument, but it just seems like everything nowadays is too good. It goes down too smooth. People know what they're doing, and it can suck the character out of a lot of our racetracks for a period of time. So I hope that we're learning that we can have something that comes around. Hopefully, ages enough to where we're able to put on some good racing.
And that's all the time we have with Chris this morning. So thank you for your time and good luck this weekend.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, there's the checkered flag. Great job, driver.